Well, so this topic is going to be on file handling only. Most probably on file handling only. If it permits all of the time, we can go to the topics also. So basically, file handling. If you're familiar with other languages, then just a minute. Okay. If you're familiar with other languages, then you might have seen this kind of thing, file pointer. Basically, file pointer is a handle which is returned by a file opening function to you. It's basically an object, so you can reference using this object and do all kind of other file handling, file writing, file reading operations. Okay, so basically let's change our directory. Basically I want to get in which directory I'm working, so it is C drive Python 27, so I need to change it. Change to it C drive slash PY procs Python procs basically. Okay, so I'm in the correct directory right now. Basically I don't want to create any Python files in my Python installation directory. That's why I'm changing to this directory, which happens to me in my D partition. Okay, so what is this? Okay, so let's first start with directory listing. So this will be like a few extra things which you should be doing before getting into file functions. Wait. Let me define it like my directory, working directory. What is my current working directory? It is pyprocs. So what if I want to get all the files whichever are there in my this directory? So there's a function in Python, walk os.walk, and where do you want to walk is in this directory. Okay, so wait. Okay, so this will list out, this is going to return us these three variables. This is basically root, directory and files. So I'm iterating one by one through them. Sorry. For root, directory and files in os.walk, and we give it the name of our directory, working directory. So what if you want to get all the files? So there are all these files, text1, text2, this one directory, another directory and third directory. Okay, what if you want to give a fully qualified file name to them, like with the directory name and then the file name? So basically it's going to return us a list file, and one by one. So for we iterate through files also. File in f, print r plus file. So it gives us a structured listing of all our qualified file names with their directories, but there should have been a separator over here. So what we'll do is, so it gives us a nice list with all of the files and along with the directory names where they are stored. Okay, so these are basic functions which you could do with the OS module. So now let's move on to files. There are multiple modes for dealing with files. Basically we'll be dealing with write, read and append. These are the basic three modes which are going to be heavily used. So I'll be discussing with these only. Let's take the write file mode. So basically we'll get a file pointer after opening a file called, let's take a new file .txt, and we'll open it in write mode. So returns us a file pointer. And what is a file pointer? Open file, new file.txt, mode is write. Basically W is your write mode, R is your read mode, and A is your append mode. So we'll go through all of these modes. Now you can find out what all things you can do with this file pointer. So basically these underscores are the inbuilt some expressions of Python, so let's get rid of them. X for X in dir of file pointer. If X doesn't start with an underscore, no, something spelling, body keyboard. Okay, so it gives us all the basically applicable functions. So here read line, read lines, because this is basically a file pointer, so Python cannot distinguish whether you're going to use it for writing to files or reading from files. So it gives you all the functions with which you can write also and read also. Write lines, X read lines, all of these. So let's start writing with this. First let's write it with this one, first line. Okay, now what will happen, I'll show you after some time. Let's separate them more easily. Okay, now after dealing with file pointer, you need to close it every time, otherwise it will continuously being used and you won't be able to read from those files. Now if you want to read the files, so let's call it file pointer read, and what is our file name? Come on, let's define the file name now. File name variable is body. What was our file pointer? Was new file.txt. This is our file 1. So let's open this file in read mode. Basically this R is also not required here. Even if you don't pass any mode of file opening to this open function, it's going to accept it, but it will open that file in read mode only. It won't open it in write or append mode. So dot read. Now see what happens. We had given two lines, this is first line, this is second line, but basically when you keep on writing to a file, Python doesn't understand whether you want to add this second line content after these characters over here, or you want to add it in a new line. So it just keeps on writing one after another all the strings that you give it to. So you need to separate them by new line function, by new line character. So basically let's assign the functions. We'll open, let me try this, I don't know if it works or not. let's make it an append because we already created a file. So one more thing, when you use w over here, when you open a file in write mode, basically if the file is not present there, it will create a file and give you the file pointer back. If you use any other mode, like read or append, if the file is not present, it's going to give you an error. But with write mode, if the file is not present, it will open that file, open a new file, create a new file and start writing to that file from scratch. And since the file is already created, let's start appending, because if you write again to that file using w mode over here, it is going to overwrite that file. Basically it will erase all the contents and it will start writing from scratch. So if a file is already existing, there's some data inside it, don't use write mode, use append mode if you want to add some data to it. Otherwise, if you choose w in place of this, it will erase all the previous data and will start writing from scratch. So let's open now, open in write mode. Okay, no, leave it. I've not tried these kind of function assigning, so we'll see it some other time. File 1, basically what's a file 1? Yeah, file 1 is new file only. Open file 1 in append mode, and now we need to, if we want to add some data, third line. So remember that last line was not having a new line character, so it's going to append it at the end only, basically at the end of that line. So I'm going to start it from the new line. So we should give us new line character, then give a third line, okay, then give another new line character. Now you can write the fourth line also, since we already given the new line at the end of the third line, so it's going to start this line from the new line only. We don't need to give another new line character here, but at the end of this line we need to give a new line character if you want to further append something to file. Let's close this file. Now let's open the file for reading. Okay, see, first and second line are already there, we cannot do anything with this. Now this appends a slash and new line character and starts third line, then adds another new line character and start the fourth line. Now you'll say that what is the use of appending this new line character? So basically the read function, they are, where is the function? This read function, where it is, read function is going to read the whole line, read the full file at a time altogether. So if you want to read these lines in a nice list format, you need to, okay, now one more thing, if you again read this file, nothing going to happen because your file pointer is at the end of the file now and there's nothing after the end point of the file. So you want to go back to the first place of the file, beginning of the file, you need to use seek method and seek to 0. So basically it goes to 0 location of the file, basically beginning of the file. Now again you can read the whole file, again go back to the starting of the file. Now you do a read line, and okay, all the lines which are separated with a new line character, they go in the separate elements of the list. Now what you can do, you can iterate through it, and it goes back to the 0th position. Okay, so now the new line character separates all the lines one by one, and you get a nice listing of all the strings which you have written in the file. Now what's happening here? Python is by itself appending a new line character. So how do you get rid of it? For line in, print line dot, you strip out the rightmost new line character from the lines. Go to starting position. Okay, so now all the new line characters which are unnecessarily present there, they'll be removed with this rstrip function, and we'll get the original file contents like this. Let's go to the beginning of the file again. Now there's another function, fp.readline. So basically what it will do, it will give you the file contents one by one, and the file is finished now. Now basically you want to get rid of this new line character here. So what you can do is again use rstrip function, and it will give you all the contents without new line character. Okay, so we are done with reading the files. Now we've seen the write line functions. Yeah, okay, we've seen the new line characters also, write, and read line also. Anything remaining? This one. Okay, now we are read and written also. Now let's start a new file. Let's write to file whatever we are passing through the program with args. Okay, like I'll show you. Open a command prompt. Go to Python programs. Okay, there's a new file.txt. Okay, now suppose I want to create a program which asks the user to feed in the characters or strings or sentences, anything, and that will be written onto the file. So basically what you do is, where's that font? Okay, basically how you do it, Python like test.py, and here you give whatever you want to write, hello world, like this. Okay, so let's get that kind of program. From sys import arguments. Okay, now remember the first argument to the file, to the program, will be the file name. Okay, next arguments whatever you give, argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, these will be taken as arguments which we are passing to the program. So file name, then argument 1, argument 2, argument 3 is equal to your args. Okay, now first let's just print all of these. arg1, arg2, arg3. Let's save it as what's the file name? Let's give it args. Okay, now the file is saved. Let's go to command prompt. Python, what was the name? args.py. Let's run it like this. So the program actually asks you so many things. File name is already provided, arg1, arg2 and argument 3. These are stored into args, and it says that it needs more than one value to unpack. Basically we have provided only one value to it, the file name. So we need to provide it like hello, standard function, the standard program. Okay, so hello world, how are you? This is the arg1, this is your argument 2, this is your arg3. So these all will be printed one by one onto your screen as per our program. So basically working fine. Let's comment them. Uh-oh. So wait. Okay, the recorder is okay, I commented it now. Now let's open the file. What will be the file name actually? What file we want? How do we get the file? What we want to open? So we're going to define it here. File is equal to file1. What file we were using here is I guess end file. I guess what is new file? New file.txt. So we'll provide it new file.txt. Okay, open in what? Let's open it as fresh, and we'll open the file in write mode so that all the previous scratches what we have made in the file, they are gone, and we start writing to the file as fresh one. So this is the basically file which you want to write. If you want to pass it through arguments, well, we can do it. We'll do it next time. So first let's keep it simple. Now what all things we want to write in this file? So this has to be file pointer. Okay, so fp dot what is it, arg1. Now we need to append a new line character. arg2. Oh, I need to keep on writing again and again. Okay, then arg3. So what are you doing? We are writing whatever we are passing through the command prompt. arg1 giving a new line character. Again we are writing to file argument 2 what we are passing through command line. Then giving a new line character, and again at the end we are writing argument number 3. At the end you need to close the file pointer. Now if you want to read, we again open the file pointer, get the file pointer, and what is it, file. As I said, you don't need to pass the read mode symbol here, R, every time. File basically opens it in read mode only, so we can print them one by one. fp dot read lines. Remember I told you about read lines, it reads the file in nice list format. Print line. Let's write 2 new lines. Let's write one new line. Okay, so save it, go to command prompt. Okay, well, now it has taken all the arguments, written them in the file, and now it has printed all the arguments. It has opened the file in read. Let's make it more transparent. Print opening for read. Reading now. Okay, okay, so it gives us a message, contents written, basically here. So it has passed through till this point. Now it is giving us a message, content written, and printing opening for read now. Now it is opening the file and giving you all of the so let's get rid of that new line character at the end. Okay, so it gives us one by one what all things we have written in each line. So basically it gives us in a line format only. Okay, so this has been done till file opening, file writing, and what else? Okay, okay, so we are opening a file in write mode again. Let's create a loop, write the contents or write the iterations of a loop to file. How? For I in range 5. We got the file pointer from here. Okay, I commented all of this code here, so it's not going to be used. So basically just ignore this one. So we are using file pointer from here. Let's comment this one also. So this all code is not used now. fp dot write lines what I, and write line, write a new line character. Okay, now take this. Basically now we're going to close the file. and we're going to again open it for reading. So whatever we have written to file, we'll close the file pointer now, again opening the file for reading, and now we are printing all of the contents of the file. Okay, you don't need to go to command prompt also, you can run it from here also. Requires enterable argument. What happened? Okay. Let us comment reason. What is giving the problem? Okay, 0 to 4 it is written, so where is the mistake? fp dot write lines I. Let's make it string of I. Okay, so content written, opening file for read. Now it has written 0 to 4 into the file, and now it is opening the file, reading the lines one by one. And if you don't use this function, where it is, line strip, it's going to append a irritating one new line character at the end of each line, so it's better to use R strip with the contents you are going to read. Okay, so this is about file handling. We included seek function. Go to the beginning of the file, write the file, read from the file, and I guess that's it. This kind of thing will be quite useful when you are reading from the web pages, opening a web page using URL, getting the content of one page, reading the content line by line, trying to get out all the URLs from there, trying to get all the email IDs from a web page, where this kind of database kind of thing in some web page, like all the email addresses of all the people are like this given below, and you don't want to keep opening a web page again and again using Explorer, Firefox or Internet Explorer, and then keep on copy paste all the email addresses or all the URL addresses. So you can do that easily using Python. Save the contents of the page to one file and read that content using a file opening, and filter out the contents using regular expressions, and then get all the email addresses or get all the URL addresses from that web page. So it becomes very easy for you to do all these things now at a very fast speed. So that's all for file handling, I guess. If I skipped out some topics, I'll keep covering them in next coming videos. Okay.